Hi, my name is David Hart from G4 Guitar, the G4 Guitar Network. What I want to do in this video specifically is talk about what the advantages to you as a guitarist or a guitar teacher would be in joining the G4 Guitar Network. Let me begin by talking about networking itself. The power of networking is very understated. In today's world, we actually live in a network world. So if we think about things like the internet, which is probably the best example, which started from very humble beginnings back in the 1960s to where it is today, and the power of the network and the information. If you just take, for example, that on the internet, anybody who has access to the internet has access to an almost infinite amount of information, making anybody the most intelligent person in history. You can find out facts and figures on almost anything you can think of, and with an internet, a computer and an internet access at your fingertips, you can pretty well do anything. You can come up with the answers to anything, and that's the power of networking. The network of the internet itself works on the fact that everybody contributes what they know and what they can do, and they bring it into one place, which allows other people to access it. The power of G4 is based on the same concept. The idea is that we as guitar teachers all tap into one place, one resource, where we can get the things that we need, and we can also combine our energy into one place. Let me give you a very good example of where networking will work for you as a guitar teacher. Now, imagine, for instance, that you, in your local area, that you advertise your business for guitar students. You're going to go to the trouble of letting people know where you are, what you do, how much you charge, and so forth, and you put that all out there, and you spend time every week doing that in the hope that people will call and inquire about your guitar lessons. Now, that energy is very localized, and yes, that's where you're teaching. Of course, that's where you want it to be. But as a network, if we're all doing that and we're doing it right across, we get this cross effect where the guitar teachers who are in areas that are close by to you, who are also part of the network, are also doing the same thing, marketing their services and leading them all to one place and to one name, which is G4 Guitar, then you're going to get spillover from their marketing, they're going to get spillover from your marketing, but you're not actually crossing boundaries. You have your area, they have their area, and which is ever the most convenient for the student is where they'll go. But the awareness of the fact that you're there and the other teachers over there comes from a combined effort. So that's the power of networking. That's just one example. There are many, many other examples. The next thing I'm going to talk about is resources. Many guitar teachers are very creative in putting together the resources they have. I've met so many great teachers who have some of the most amazing resources that they've thought of and put together. What we do as G4 Guitar is we say, well, let us see what you're doing, bring that forward. If we can see that it's something that's of value to other teachers, let us put it in as part of the network and we'll distribute it amongst all the teachers. Remember that by giving and sharing and creating, that's the power of the networking. You give, everybody gives, and then everybody in the network benefits. But not only that, we're creating resources ourselves. So we create things based on our own research, what we know that works, what we've seen that works, and that saves you a lot of time and energy of going to the trouble of doing that yourself. So you just tap into the resources that we already have. The G4 Guitar method is one example. We have things like practice logs, checklists that students can use to help you as a teacher. Rhythm sheets, so you don't have to make them up yourself. They're all printed and ready to go. Tons of PDFs. Also, not just the teaching resources, but your marketing and business resources. Things like pamphlets that you can deliver locally, little strip-off tags that you can hang up in your local libraries and notice boards, things like this that take you time to put together, but also time to test what works, what doesn't work. What we've done is put together things that we know that work. We've tested them over the years. I've been in this business for 24 years now and pretty well have been doing it full time. So I've seen a lot of different ideas, a lot of things that work, a lot of things I thought would work but didn't work. And the idea is that you save all that time, you save that 20 odd years of mistakes. and going down the wrong paths and doing things that you know that work, that we know that work. Of course, you can try whatever you like, you can do whatever you like, but you have that ability to tap into the resources that we have. So networking and resources are the first two big ones. The next thing is search engine optimization, known as SEO. Search engine optimization is the talk of the town at the moment. It's what everybody who's got a business is on about. Everybody who has a business these days has to be on the internet. But the businesses that succeed are the ones who come up at the top of search rankings, simply because there's actually a law called Zipf's law. There was actually a guy who came up, his name was George Kingsley Zipf, who came up with this theoretical idea that words in the English language are used, the frequency of certain words against other words are more common, but the most common word, the number one word with the most frequency, is the word the. But the outranks the second most popular word by double. It's unbelievable. So in other words, the top number one place gets double what number two gets. Now, I saw this in an example with ice cream. Vanilla ice cream is the number one selling ice cream in the world. People still buy more vanilla ice cream. There's hundreds of or thousands of other flavors out there, but people still buy vanilla as the most common. Chocolate, which is number two, is vanilla sells 4 times as much as chocolate. Just to give you an idea, vanilla and chocolate together outrank all the others in the top 10 combined. So you can put all the other flavors together in the top 10, the other 8, and they still don't equal what vanilla and chocolate sell. So this gives you an idea of what Zipf's law is. So in other words, if you're in number one place, you're going to get twice, 3, 4, who knows, 10 times more than second place, third place, fourth place. You can see this in the cinemas. You see movies. They come out and they sell 10 times more than the movie that was at number 2. You think of blockbuster movies like Star Wars and Titanic and these movies. They just rapidly outsold all other movies in that year. There's nothing that even came close. So being part of G4, the idea is that we are working together. So by making our name bigger, and which G4 is, and by working together, we go to number one in the placement on search engines, because search engines work on what they call relevancy. So by putting us at number one, then we're going to get 2, 3, 4, 5 times more business than number 2 or number 3. And it's true. The number of inquiries we get, I'm not sure when you're looking at this video, but right as I speak, we just had a new weekly record of 822 inquiries in 1 week. That's huge. Okay, the next point that I want to make is G4 in the internet. What I'm going to do is explain why networking has placed G4 at the top. I've spoke about how optimization works, but the reason that G4 Guitar ends up in the number one place is simply because the way the search engines work. They look for relevancy. Somebody searches for guitar and teacher, which is often what they're going to put together, guitar teacher or guitar tuition or guitar lesson, and then their suburb. That's generally what they put when they look for a location. If you're the guitar teacher, say in a suburb in Melbourne, let's say you're in Brunswick, and somebody types in guitar teacher Brunswick, the chances are there's going to be 3, 4, 5, 10 teachers teaching guitar in Brunswick or in the Brunswick area. Google looks at all those and goes, okay, who is the most relevant? Who are we going to put on at number one? And the way that it works is Google says, well, let's have a look at how many web pages, how many references, how big they are, how much traffic their website gets. All these kind of factors they build into it. There's a lot of unknowns as well with Google, but these are the kind of things they look for because it makes sense. The people who are searching want the number one choice. They don't want number 2 or 3. They're not interested. They just want to know who's the best, who does this better than anybody else, and who is most relevant. And so what happens is, because G4's got so many teachers, Google say, well, these guys are big. They've got a lot of teachers. They're a big organization. They've also got a lot of references to their websites. They've got a lot of mentions, G4 Guitar, Brunswick. It all connects up, so let's put them at number one. And that's why we end up at number one, because we are a network. It's the networking that makes us number one. And that's why for you to go, you know,